Today, we're going to talk about nutrition and good moods, the basics of a good foundation for healthy eating, because this is the first thing I look at with clients who are distressed by anxiety, depression, and so on. When I was young, my moods were up and down and up and down. It was destabilizing. It was upsetting. It made me not trust myself, and it felt discouraging. And so I knew there was a better way, and I really explored how different natural ways of boosting my moods could make a difference for me. And I learned many, many ways, holistic, natural ways, so that I could have balanced moods. The first thing I want to talk about is protein. When I meet with my clients and they mention that moods are one of their issues, whether it's anxiety or depression or just too many ups and downs, then one of the first things I do is look at their diet diary, their food journal, and just see how much protein they're eating. It's very hard to have balanced moods if you're not taking enough protein in. And sometimes some of us do that. Protein provides the raw material for making neurotransmitters. Serotonin, dopamine, GABA, those are all the neurotransmitters that regulate our moods. And without enough, your brain might struggle to stay calm, clear, and focused. Here's the formula. You want to aim for 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. Now, how do you translate that calculation? First, you want to divide your weight by 2.2. and then multiply by 0.8 and by 1.2, and then you get the range. Here's the example. A 150-pound person, if you divide that by 2.2, you get the kilograms. It would be 68 kilograms. And then you multiply 68 times the low end of the range, 0.8. That's 55 grams. And you multiply 68 by 1.2, that is 82 grams. So there you get a range for a 150-pound person is 55 grams to 82 grams of protein a day. I would really go higher than lower on this one. 55 grams is very modest amount. And 82 grams is not considered a high protein diet. So bodybuilders might do 1.5 grams or 2 grams of protein per kilogram. So even in this range, you're in a middle amount of protein. I want to say a word for the vegans because you have to think a little bit more about where you're getting your protein from. 1 cup of quinoa is 8 grams. Lentils a cup is 18 grams, which is a lot, right? A cup of beans or garbanzos is 15 grams. So those are some of the basics of, let's say you're having a Buddha bowl or something like that. A lot of people can't have a whole cup of beans. It might give them too much gas, or the extra fiber might be too hard for them. So a half a cup might be what they're eating, depending on the size of the person, of course. So then you could add hemp hearts, just 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts, which taste really delicious, add 9 grams. If you add 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, that adds 4 grams. You add 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds, that's 3 grams. You don't have to add all of that, but just give you an idea of you just tweaking your vegan meals and so on. So walnuts, 1/4 cup is 4 grams. Brazil nuts, 3 nuts of Brazil nuts, 2 grams. Pumfu is pumpkin seed tofu, 4 ounces, 17 grams. Dried nori seaweed, 4 sheets is 2.5 grams. So when you're having sushi, you get a little protein in that nori. And nutritional yeast is one of my favorite cheesy flavored booster foods. 1.5 tablespoons gives you 4 grams protein. If you're vegan, you work a little harder to get your protein. Getting protein from animal products is easier. Something to think about. Omega-3 fats. These are considered very valuable to the brain, especially DHA, which is mostly found in animal foods, but it is found in algae. And that's what those fish eat. And that's how that DHA collects. And then supplementally, they can make this concentrated vegan algae oil. So you can do DHA supplements if you're a vegan. There really isn't any food that you can eat to give you adequate DHA. You can make it internally, but if you're struggling with moods, you need more than what you can make internally. These are healthy fats that build resilient brain and nerve cells. They help ease inflammation and support calmer thinking. You can also get it from salmon and sardines. Those are the highest animal foods. Pastured eggs. If an animal is eating or chicken is eating their regular natural diet, they produce more. Then you get a little bit in walnuts. Flax seeds, you don't actually get them in flax seeds and walnuts and chia seeds. You convert them internally from the fats in those foods. So again, if you're a vegan, I suggest taking the vegan DHA supplements. Let's talk about the gut-mood connection. Research shows that daily probiotics can support emotional resilience and reduce negative thought patterns. For example, one study, and granted this was a small study, people took a probiotic blend for 4 weeks and they had fewer sad or anxious thoughts and felt less stressed than those taking a placebo. And that study was done in 2015. Another study found that a daily probiotic improved mood and sleep quality. Again, another small study, but still very interesting. Participants reported feeling calmer, less fatigued, and sleeping better after just a month. So you may want to experiment with probiotics. That study was done in 2011. If you read the slides, there is a reference there. Your gut is considered a second brain because those friendly gut microbes communicate with your brain and they influence your mood. This can get thrown off by taking a lot of antibiotics, having a lot of stress, eating an imbalanced diet. If you want to do this with food, you think about having fiber-rich foods because those feed your bacteria. Think about whole grains, beans, apples, nuts, seeds, and fruits with seeds like figs and blackberries. Those are healthy fibers. You can also get raw fermented veggies like sauerkraut and kimchi, or yogurt and cottage cheese, or miso soup. Miso is fermented soy. You just don't want to boil that miso soup or it'll kill the beneficial bacteria. So just a note, when you're starting fiber and fermented foods in your diet, just start slowly and notice how your digestion feels. You might find that you have to back off if you get a little gassy and just have lower amounts and slowly build up. I want to say a word about nutrition bandits. The bandits are foods that steal your well-being and good moods. Those are things like highly processed foods that are low in nutrients but high in chemicals, refined sugar. They're hard on your moods because it spikes your blood sugar and then you crash, and that makes you very irritable. Caffeine can be challenging. It's okay to have a small amount if your system can handle it. If you have a sensitive system, it affects women's hormones more than men, so it can increase things like PMS and menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, and can give you the feeling of irritation. Experiment with lowering your caffeine or eliminating it altogether and seeing how you feel and see how little caffeine you can be happy with. Same thing with alcohol, very hard on hormones, particularly with women. And when your hormones are off, your moods are off. Same thing with blood sugar. It affects your blood sugar and your liver and your brain. So alcohol is very harsh on your moods, and it might feel great temporarily. It might help you feel numb when you're going through a tough time, but then there's a backlash to it that makes things worse. So be modest. And then fried foods. This is just very hard on your whole body because it creates more inflammation. The fats are damaged. They create free radicals in your body. It creates more inflammation. And inflammation is like static on your screen. It's like that sound of static. Your cells don't communicate with each other as clearly, and so you don't feel as good. It can make you have fatigue and a foggy mood. To have happier moods, you need to make some healthier choices. A big trick when I'm working with my clients is to just find the healthy foods that they enjoy, and then look at your bandits, your nutritional bandits that we just talked about, and find substitutes that you like. For example, oven fries instead of French fries, kale chips instead of potato chips, berries with yogurt instead of cakes and cookies. When you eat those foods, you get more nutrition out of it, so you end up feeling better. Mocktails, I love mocktails. To me, it's like a little sparkle. It's like a cocktailed without the alcohol, but with also relaxing nutritional powders like magnesium and other things, so that you get that feeling after you drink them. Jasmine green tea instead of black tea or coffee, or switch your coffee to half decaf or half grain coffee like Ticino, or all grain coffee like Ticino, or there's another one called Dandy Blend that's really yummy. To put this knowledge into practice about nutrition and good moods, have patience with yourself as you make dietary changes. It can take a little time to develop an awareness of how a food is affecting your body, but it's worth it. Not only do good moods feel great, but it saves you energy so that you can put that towards developing your unique gifts and talents. This will help your loved ones around you, your community, and the greater world. It's so worth it. You are worth it. You have so much to offer, and I wish you all the best.